It was a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays are quiet at work. Nobody bothers you. Nobody expects miracles. I just pulled into the driveway, engine still ticking, hands still on the wheel, and something in me told me not to go in right away. Not fear. Not even suspicion. Just hesitation. Like walking into a room you know has changed even though no one told you. I sat there longer than usual, eyes on the porch light she forgot to turn off again. Amanda always forgot the porch light. And I always reminded her. She'd nod, kiss me on the cheek, say, "Sorry babe, long day," and I'd smile like that made it okay. But that night, I didn't smile. I killed the engine, grabbed my bag, and walked inside. The air felt different. You don't expect to feel betrayal in the air, but I did. Something like the trace of cologne you don't wear, or the hum of a voice not yours. She was in the kitchen, pouring wine. 2 glasses. Expecting someone? I asked. Casual. Light? She didn't flinch. Didn't even pause. Just lifted 1 glass toward me and said, "You." Obviously. That was lie number 1. She never poured me wine on a weekday. Amanda barely poured me conversation on weekdays. I played along. I always do. I sat, drank, asked about her day, nodded at every lie she packaged in ribbons. Madison and I went shopping. Lie. Madison was out of town. I stopped by the salon. Maybe. Maybe not. She didn't ask me about my day. She hadn't in weeks. It wasn't always like this. There was a time when Amanda would wait for me on the porch barefoot, eyes lit up like she couldn't stand to be inside one more minute without me. We used to eat takeout on the floor, binge bad TV, talk about stupid dreams we both knew we'd never chase. But over time, she stopped being my partner and started being my audience. And then, not even that. I noticed it all, piece by piece. The way she started turning her phone face down. The way her body leaned away from mine in bed. The way she started saying, "I'm tired," like it was punctuation to every interaction. And I let it slide. Because I believed we were just in a phase. I believed people changed. That she'd come back. But she didn't. And I was done pretending. That night, when she went upstairs to shower, I did what I hadn't done in 9 years. I touched her phone. It was on the coffee table, buzzing quietly, once, twice, 3 times. No lock screen message. Just a name, Daniel. Daniel. I don't know a Daniel. Amanda doesn't know a Daniel. At least not one she'd be texting at 10:42 p.m. My hands weren't even shaking. I wasn't nervous. I opened the phone like I'd done it 1,000 times before. No lock. She must have thought I'd never check. She was right. Until now. What I saw wasn't just cheating. It wasn't even just betrayal. It was performance. Amanda wasn't just seeing someone else. She was becoming someone else for him. Photos. Poses. Little voice notes with her giggling like a teenager. Messages where she made fun of me, mocked the way I talk, the way I fold laundry, even the way I breathe when I'm asleep. She had reinvented herself for Daniel. And I was the ghost she lived with. I sat there for over an hour scrolling, reading, letting the slow blade of each word twist inside me. She told him she loved how different he was. That he got her. That I was good, just boring. That I wouldn't take it well, but that she didn't care anymore. At 11:53, she came down in her robe, drying her hair. "You coming to bed?" she asked. I looked up from the screen and met her eyes with a stillness she didn't recognize. That's when her expression changed. A flicker of panic, just a spark, but enough. "You left your phone unlocked," I said calmly. "Daniel says hi." She didn't move. Not right away. She blinked once, then looked toward the phone like it might rescue her. Then came the laugh. Not the kind that covers guilt, the kind that tries to flip the script. "You're reading my messages now?" "Seriously, Mark." That was the moment I stood up. Walked to the door. Opened it. "You should go," I said. She laughed again, but there was a crack in it this time. "Go where?" "I don't care. Just not here." And for a second, she didn't move. She expected yelling. She expected begging. Maybe even a fight. But not this. Not silence. Not a door held open by a man who finally stopped loving her at just the right time. Seconds later, she stepped outside. Seconds after that, I heard her voice shake for the first time in years. "Mark, wait." But I didn't. Because she thought I'd beg her to stay. Instead, I gave her the one thing she never gave me, a clean exit. The thing about shock is it doesn't come all at once. It seeps in. Slow. Like water through cracks in the ceiling. You don't notice until you're ankle deep and shivering. She stood outside for a while. Didn't leave. Didn't say anything else. Just lingered there on the porch in her robe, barefoot like the Amanda I used to love, only this time without the warmth, without the welcome. I didn't shut the door. I didn't say a word. I sat back down, poured myself another drink, and waited. Eventually, I heard her footsteps. She came back inside, arms crossed, eyes tight. She walked like someone trying to look in control while their heart races. Her mouth opened, but I beat her to it. How long? She hesitated. Too long. Don't do this, she said. Then tell me how long. Amanda looked down. Then back up. It's not serious. Wrong answer. For months. I asked. 6? A year. 5, she muttered. 5 months. 5 months of lying to my face. 5 months of letting me cook her dinner while she texted another man under the table. 5 months of calling me babe while letting someone else leave bruises on her neck. And then she did it. The thing that finally snapped something in me. She rolled her eyes. I didn't think you'd care this much. You've been distant for a while. I figured you were just comfortable. Comfortable. That's what she called loyalty. That's what she called carrying this marriage when she stopped lifting her side. I stood. Walked past her. Not out of anger, out of clarity. I want you gone by tomorrow, I said. Don't drag this out. Her jaw clenched. You're really kicking me out over this? After everything? I turned. I should have been calm. I should have been cold. But I couldn't. I laughed. Bitter, loud, too loud. Everything? I snapped. You mean the everything where I supported your half-job Etsy dream for 2 years? Or the everything where I forgave you for that one night with Brian at that wedding 2 years ago? Because I didn't forget. I chose to believe you. Like a fool. She went pale. That was supposed to be buried. Forgotten. Her eyes dropped, and for the first time in all this, she looked small. You said you forgave me, she whispered. I did, I replied. But forgiveness doesn't mean blindness. I slept in the guest room that night. Locked the door. Her knocks came around 2 a.m. Light, tentative. I didn't answer. I listened, though. Heard her sit down on the floor against the door. Heard her sniff once or twice. Maybe she cried. I don't know. Maybe she was just composing her next excuse. Morning came, and so did the performance. She made coffee. Cooked breakfast. Wore the shirt I once said I loved on her. All silent gestures meant to rewind time. I walked past her without a word. Picked up my keys. Drove. I needed air. Real air. Air without her perfume in it. I parked at the lake we used to go to back when we were broke and happy. I sat on a bench. Just stared at the water. That's when the grief hit. Not over her. Not even over the affair. Grief for the man I'd been. The man who fought for her when she wouldn't even lift a finger. The man who thought love was enough. The man who thought she was. He was gone now. And in his place was someone harder. Sharper. A little quieter. And somehow that man felt more like me than I'd ever been. I didn't go home that night. After hours by the lake, I ended up at my brother's place. Jason, older by 3 years, less polished than me, but the kind of man who sees straight through walls of bullshit. When he opened the door and saw me standing there with nothing but keys in one hand and silence in the other, he didn't ask questions. Just stepped aside. Spare room's clean, he said. Whiskey's in the kitchen. That's Jason. I didn't tell him everything. Not right away. I needed to say it out loud first by myself. The words felt like poison on my tongue, like if I gave them breath they'd crawl back down my throat and choke me. But I couldn't keep them in. Not after what I saw that afternoon. You see, I went back. Not to talk. Not even to check on her. I needed clothes, papers, my passport, things I didn't want her touching. I parked down the block. Watched the house for a while. And then I saw him. Daniel. He wasn't a fantasy or a digital ghost. He was real. Tall. Athletic. Wearing one of those smug button-downs with sleeves rolled just right. He walked up to my house like he'd done it before. Confident. Too confident. Amanda opened the door in my hoodie. She let him in. No hesitation. No guilt. Just a quick glance outside and then the door shut behind him. I didn't go in. I just drove. There it was. The confirmation. The final scene in a play I didn't audition for. Whatever flimsy story she'd been preparing was already dust. She had moved on. Weeks ago. Maybe longer. The Amanda I came home to on that Tuesday? That wasn't a wife salvaging a marriage. That was a woman who'd already left. She just forgot to pack her things. Back at Jason's, I sat at the kitchen counter while he fried something on the stove. You gonna tell me what happened? He asked, not looking up. I did. All of it. From the texts to the lies, to Daniel in my doorway, to Amanda's shrug of betrayal. I talked until my voice turned hoarse. Jason listened, flipping bacon like I was just talking about the weather. When I finally stopped, he said, So what's the move? I shook my head. Divorce. That was the first time I'd said it. It didn't sound like defeat. It sounded like freedom. Jason nodded. Good. Make it hurt. I'm not her, I said. I'm not burning the house down. No, he said. But make sure she knows it's not her story anymore. That stuck with me. Back at the house the next morning, Amanda had finally realized something was different. Maybe Daniel left in a hurry. Maybe the silence after his departure felt heavier than usual. Maybe it was the empty drawers in the guest room or the missing passport or the voicemail I left her that said nothing more than, "You lied for the last time. Papers are coming." When I walked in, she was sitting at the table like a kid waiting for the principal. Hair up, no makeup, hoodie gone, eyes tired. Not sorry, just calculating. "You can't mean this," she said. "Already filed," I replied. She blinked. "We can fix this, Mark. This is just a phase. I messed up, but no. You dismantled this," I said, voice low, "piece by piece. And I let you. That's on me. But staying? That's on you. And I'm not carrying it anymore." Her hands shook a little. "So what? You're just giving up?" "You gave up first," I said. "I'm just catching up." And then, finally, the mask dropped. "I should have left you a year ago," she snapped. "You never saw me. You were too busy playing husband to be a man." There it was. The venom. The rot. And suddenly, I didn't feel grief anymore. Just relief. "You're right," I said, stepping back. "I didn't see you. Not the real you." I left her sitting there. No more yelling. No more begging. Just the sound of her own emptiness bouncing off the walls she poisoned. She thought I'd crumble. Instead, I started building. The papers were in motion. I had a lawyer by Thursday. Her name was Denise Caldwell. Sharp, no nonsense, and didn't blink when I handed her the evidence. Screenshots, logs, timeline. Amanda's face in a dozen selfies she sent to Daniel like some digital love letter. Every one of them taken in our bedroom. Denise looked at me across the desk and asked, "Do you want to fight, or do you want it fast?" "Both," I said. She smiled. "Then we don't wait. We serve her tomorrow." I thought I'd feel something watching Amanda get the papers. I didn't. Jason filmed it. Not for revenge, just proof. Protection. Amanda had a way of rewriting stories to fit her as the victim. And sure enough, as soon as she opened the envelope on our porch, the look on her face wasn't shock. It was offense. Like I'd wronged her. She called within the hour. Left 6 voicemails. Each more desperate than the last. Calm, like she'd misunderstood. Angry, accusing me of being petty. Teary, begging for another chance. Cold, warning me not to ruin her life. Silent, just her breathing. One sentence, "I made a mistake, but you'll regret this more than I will." That was the turning point. Amanda wasn't heartbroken. She was cornered. She'd gambled and lost. Daniel apparently didn't want the baggage. Once she told him I'd filed, he ghosted. Just like that. And for the first time, Amanda was the one left waiting by the phone. I stayed with Jason for a few more days. Each morning I woke up in that spare room. I felt lighter. The kind of light that comes after surgery, sore, but clean. One night, Jason and I sat on the back deck with 2 beers and no music. Just the sound of crickets and the occasional car. "You're handling this better than I thought," he said. "I'm not," I replied. "I'm just done losing." He looked at me. "You still love her?" I took a breath. "I don't even know her. That's the truth. Amanda, the Amanda I fought for, waited up for, defended when everyone said she was too wild, too sharp, too much. That woman died a long time ago. Maybe she never existed. Maybe I just built her in my head because I needed to believe someone like her could want someone like me. But love, real love, that doesn't hide behind locked phones and fake laughs. That doesn't mock you behind your back and expect applause when you finally catch on. Still, there were moments. In the quiet. In the small hours when the world slept and my mind didn't. There were flashes of her smile. The way she used to curl her legs under herself on the couch. The way she'd hum along to songs in the car without realizing. Those moments are cruel. They're traps. Echoes of someone who isn't real anymore. I let them come. I let them hurt. And then I let them go. The next time she called, I answered. "Mark," she said. Her voice was softer than I remembered. Not sweet, small. "I'll sign," she said. I want you to know I didn't plan for it to go this way." I didn't answer. "I thought you'd fight for me," she added, almost a whisper. "I did," I said. "You just weren't watching." She started crying. Real tears this time. I could hear it in her throat. But I didn't flinch. I didn't offer comfort. I let her sit in it because that's what she gave me for months. Silence then, "I miss you." I hung up. Not out of cruelty. Out of mercy for myself. 3 weeks after I hung up on her, I got the confirmation the divorce was uncontested. Signed, stamped, processed. Amanda hadn't lawyered up. Didn't try to twist the knife. No fights over property, no threats, no schemes. She just folded. I wish I could say that brought me peace. Instead, it left me with something stranger, disappointment. Like I trained for a war that never came. Like I'd been carrying armor for months only to realize the enemy dropped her sword and walked away without looking back. It was quiet. Too quiet. Until the letter. A plain envelope. No return address. Postmarked from a city 2 hours south. Inside, one folded page in her handwriting. "Mark, you win. That's what you wanted, right?" I signed. I disappeared. I gave you peace. But let me ask you something, has it made you happy? Really? Or do you still wake up thinking about what could have been if you just fought a little harder? I never expected you to forgive me. But I did expect you to be the man I married, the one who didn't give up. You weren't. No apology. No ownership. Just manipulation disguised as grief. I laughed. I actually laughed. Because even after all the damage, all the lies, all the late nights where I sat on the floor wondering what I did wrong, this was her parting gift. A guilt trip. A final gaslight in black ink. Jason read it. His only comment was, "Frame it. Title it Why I Left." I didn't respond to her letter. I burned it in a dish behind Jason's garage and watched the smoke trail into the sky like a curse being lifted. But that was the last time I gave Amanda a single minute of my day. I moved back into the house the next week. Not because I missed it, but because it was mine. I'd paid for every square foot, every wall she walked past while texting other men. I wasn't going to let her ghost haunt it. So I changed it. New locks. New furniture. Ripped out the rug she loved. Sold the art I never liked. Painted the kitchen a sharp, clean gray. It felt surgical. Cleansing. Like cutting away rot to let something healthy grow. One night, while rearranging the living room, I found a shoebox behind the TV stand. Inside were photos, old ones. Our wedding. Vacations. A birthday dinner where she surprised me with tickets to a concert I thought she forgot. I stared at that picture for a long time. We looked happy. We weren't. Because love without loyalty is just a costume. And Amanda wore hers like it was always meant to come off. I drove to the river that night. Not to think. Just to feel wind again. To let something real hit my face. I stood on the bank, hands in my pockets, staring at the black water curling under the moonlight. And for the first time in months, I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't sad either. I was ready. Ready to stop reacting. Ready to start rebuilding. Not out of spite. Not to prove anything. Just because I finally saw myself as worth the effort again. The first Saturday alone in the house hit different. The kind of quiet that echoes back at you. No clinking wine glasses. No late-night laughing coming from the other room that you later realize wasn't meant for you. No sound of heels across the hardwood as she stomped out during another girls' night she never came back from. Just me. And silence. But it didn't hurt anymore. I made a list that morning. Not a bucket list. Not some dramatic, post-divorce, find myself journey. Just a list of things I'd put off because I was too busy keeping a marriage alive that Amanda had already buried. Fix the porch light. Cancel the wine club subscription, hers. Delete joint calendar. Burn the old bedsheets. Buy a damn dog. It was stupid, probably. But crossing things off felt like breathing again. The dog thing? That wasn't random. Amanda hated dogs. Said they were too needy. Which is ironic considering the one who needed constant attention, praise, and validation was never on a leash. So that afternoon I walked into a shelter. No plan. No specific breed in mind. And I met Duke, a big brown-eyed mutt with a crooked tail and a look in his eyes like he'd seen betrayal too. He came home with me that day. And for the first time in a long time I felt something in this house choose to stay. Over the next couple of weeks I started reclaiming the space. Not just physically, emotionally. I hung my own photos. Bought my own dishes. Cooked real meals, not just takeout eaten in tense silence across from someone scrolling on her phone. And the more I lived without Amanda, the more I realized just how long I'd been alone with her. That's the thing nobody talks about. How brutal loneliness is when someone else is still in the room. When you're next to them on the couch, but they're galaxies away. When they kiss you goodnight like it's a favor, not a feeling. Being alone? That's nothing. I could handle alone. But abandoned in plain sight? That had nearly broken me. Now I was starting to like my own company again. I caught myself laughing at dumb movies. Singing in the kitchen while Duke tilted his head like I was a lunatic. Sleeping diagonally on the bed just because I could. And yet, the texts kept coming. Amanda didn't go quiet. It started with one or two harmless, pretending to check on paperwork. Then came the longer ones. I had a dream about us last night. Remember our trip to Asheville? I drove by and couldn't stop thinking about it. You're really not going to talk to me again? She didn't get it. She thought she still had the power. The power to poke at my peace and see if anything cracked. But I didn't reply. Not once. Not when she sent old photos. Not when she sent a song we used to slow dance to. Not even when she wrote, "If you just fought for me like this before, none of this would have happened." That one I nearly replied to. But I didn't, because if I'd replied, I'd be validating a lie. Amanda hadn't wanted a partner. She'd wanted a mirror. Someone to reflect her needs, absorb her moods, take her blame. And I'd done it for years, until there was nothing left of me but a reflection of her. Now she was facing herself for the first time. And she didn't like what she saw. It was the middle of the night when she showed up. I was half asleep on the couch, a rerun playing low on the TV, Duke curled against my legs. Then 3 hard knocks at the door. Not a neighbor. Not Jason. I knew that rhythm. I got up slow, looked through the peephole. Amanda, standing there like she belonged. Like time hadn't passed. Like the last few months hadn't happened. She didn't look put together. No makeup. Hoodie pulled tight. Eyes red. Not from crying but from trying to cry. She was running out of performances. And this time I was the wrong audience. I opened the door, but only halfway. "What are you doing here?" I asked. She looked up, caught off guard that I didn't look surprised. That I wasn't shaken. She started, biting her lip. "Can I come in?" "No." That word landed harder than a slap. Her breath caught. "I drove 2 hours," she said. "And you can drive 2 back." I answered calm. She blinked fast, then crossed her arms. "You don't even want to hear me out?" "I already did," I said. "Every time I waited at home. Every time I forgave you. Every time I believed a lie because it came with a kiss." Her lips parted like she had something to say, then closed again. "You know," she whispered. "He blocked me. Daniel. Just disappeared." I nodded slowly. "Of course he did." She looked confused. Maybe even insulted. "He told me he loved me." I tilted my head. "And I told you, forever." Which one of us meant it? That broke something in her face. A little twitch near the mouth. The mask slipping again. "I don't know what I was doing," she said. "I felt like I was drowning. And instead of reaching for the one person who'd dive in after you," I said, "you grabbed the nearest stranger and pushed me under." She stepped closer. I didn't back away, but I didn't budge either. "Mark, I miss you. Every day. I miss waking up next to you. I miss how safe I felt." "Safe," I repeated. "You mean unchallenged, unjudged, untouched while you burned everything down." Her eyes shimmered now. Maybe real tears. Maybe not. It didn't matter anymore. I'd spent too long trying to read her weather, hoping for sun while she brewed storms. "I don't want it to be over," she whispered. "I don't want us to be over." I opened the door wider, but only so Duke could walk out. He stood between us, tail stiff, ears up, reading the tension like dogs do. "You should go," I said. "You don't belong here anymore." Her jaw tensed. She looked around like the walls might defend her, like the memories would vote her back in. They didn't. She didn't move right away. She wanted a moment, a weakness, some flicker in me that said, "I still care," but I had none left to give her. "You're really letting me go?" she said, flat, like it was some kind of betrayal. "No," I said. "I already did." She left without another word. Down the steps, into her car. The engine sputtered, then faded down the street like a bad song you used to love. I closed the door. This time it stayed closed. The day after she showed up, it rained. Hard. The kind of rain that makes everything feel heavier. Clothes, thoughts, memories. I stood by the kitchen window watching it hit the glass in streaks. Duke curled by the heater, the silence of the house now peaceful instead of tense. Amanda hadn't texted. No calls. No letters. Nothing. And I didn't miss it. I didn't miss her voice trying to sell me lies. I didn't miss walking on emotional eggshells. I didn't miss being the only one in the marriage actually married. What I did feel was something unexpected. Clarity. I remembered little things that never made sense before but I'd brushed off. The time she came home from book club with a wristband from a rooftop bar. The perfume she claimed was a sample from a coworker, but was actually Black Orchid, Daniel's favorite, according to one of the texts. The laugh she'd give when I'd ask too many questions. "You're so paranoid, babe." I wasn't paranoid. I was paying attention, and she counted on me not doing that. That week I saw Madison. Yes, that Madison. Amanda's best friend. The one whose name she used as an alibi too many times. She reached out, asked to meet, said she needed to talk. I agreed reluctantly. We met at a coffee shop 2 towns over. Neutral ground. She looked different. Tired, older somehow, like someone who'd held onto a secret too long and it started rotting her from the inside. "I didn't know how bad it got," she said. "I just want to say I'm sorry for not telling you sooner." I didn't say anything, just waited. She pulled out her phone and set it face down on the table. "Amanda told me everything after you filed. She said she thought you'd fight harder if she pushed you away." I shook my head. "She pushed me into a wall. There's a difference." Madison nodded slowly. "She's a mess now. Really. She lost her job. Her sister won't speak to her. And Daniel? Turns out he's married. Wife found out. That made me pause. Amanda knew? She found out after it started. Kept going anyway. Said it was different. That he needed her." I let out a breath and looked away, laughing bitterly. "She always needed to be needed," I said. Madison leaned in. "She's not okay, Mark." I met her eyes. "She hasn't been okay for years. I just didn't want to see it." She bit her lip like she wanted to say more. Then finally, "She still thinks you'll come back." I stood up. "She can keep thinking that." I didn't know Madison anything else. She stayed silent when it mattered. Protected Amanda when the truth could have saved me months of decay. I paid the price alone. And now? Now I wanted peace that didn't come with footnotes. Back home, I deleted Amanda's contact for the last time. Blocked her number, her email, every social account. Not out of rage, but because closure isn't something you get from a person like her. You give it to yourself. That night, Duke sat beside me on the couch while I read. Rain still tapping the windows, the house still quiet. And for the first time in years, I wasn't waiting on anyone to come home. Because I already was home. It was a Friday when the final thread snapped. I was at the grocery store of all places, reaching for a carton of eggs, when I heard a voice behind me say my name. Not loud, not startled, just familiar. I turned slowly. Amanda, standing there in black leggings and a denim jacket, holding a basket with 2 things inside. Red wine and a pack of raspberries. She looked thinner, tired, but not weak. If anything, she looked like someone who'd rehearsed this moment in her head 100 times. "Hey," she said softly, as if we were old friends, as if the ruins between us were just a bad chapter in a good book. I nodded. "Hey, I wasn't expecting to see you here," she said. "It's a grocery store," I replied, picking up the eggs. She laughed lightly. "Right? Of course." There was a pause, a heavy one. I wanted to walk away. I wanted to finish my shopping. I wanted this to be the non-event it should have been. But then she said something I didn't expect. "I saw the pictures," she said. "The ones Jason posted. Of the house. It looks good. Different. I didn't reply. I like the color you painted the kitchen, she added. You hated gray, I said without looking at her. I didn't hate it, she said quickly. I didn't want everything to feel cold. I turned to face her. Cold isn't the color on the wall, Amanda. It's what you bring into the room. She flinched, just barely. Then, lowering her eyes, she said, I've been going to therapy. I nodded again. Good. I'm trying. I hope you keep trying. Another pause. Longer this time. Do you ever think about us? She asked. I looked at her carefully. Yes. Hope flickered in her face. I think about how close I came to losing myself in trying to keep us alive. I think about how much it cost me to love someone who didn't love me back in the way I deserved. Her mouth opened, then shut. And I continued, about how grateful I am that it ended before it took anything more. She looked away, blinking, then said, voice low, You really mean that? I do. That was it. The finish line. Not dramatic, not loud, just honest. She took a small step back. I'm sorry, she said. And for once I believed she meant it. I know, I said. I forgive you. But I'll never forget. She nodded. And then she turned and walked away. No begging. No scenes. No guilt thrown over her shoulder. Just the quiet understanding that some things don't come back once they're broken. I finished my shopping. Took Duke to the park. Went home, opened the windows, played old records. I danced a little in the living room while he watched me like I'd finally gone insane. Maybe I had. But it felt damn good. It's strange how quiet peace can be. Not the silence you get from being alone. I'd known the kind of silence before when Amanda would stay out late, phone dead, no messages, no explanations. That silence had weight. That silence was loud with questions, paranoia aching in the chest. This was different. This was the silence of nothing left to fix. Of a storm that finally passed and left you standing, soaked but alive. 3 months had gone by since the divorce was finalized. Amanda hadn't reached out since the grocery store. I think we both knew there was nothing left to say. She'd tried one last time to write herself into the final chapter, and I didn't hand her the pen. That was mine now. I kept building. I replaced the bed. Bought real art, nothing from those overpriced home decor boutiques she used to drag me through. I got a bike. Started riding again. Lost 10 pounds without even trying, probably because I wasn't drowning stress with coffee and bread anymore. Duke and I had a rhythm. We woke up early, walked the trails, came home, made breakfast. He never asked questions. Never judged. Never lied. That dog saved me in a way I didn't know I needed. And people noticed. Friends I hadn't heard from in a while started reaching out. Not with pity, but curiosity. Like, damn man, you look lighter. I was. I started saying yes to things again. Dinner invites. Movies. Even a weekend hike trip with coworkers I used to dodge every chance I got. There was a version of me coming back I hadn't seen in years. A version Amanda didn't get to meet. One that didn't beg, didn't bend, didn't carry weight that wasn't his. And then there was someone else. Her name's Emma. She works at the bookstore down by the old train depot. I met her when I was looking for a novel I'd half forgotten from college. She found it in under a minute and teased me for not remembering the author. We laughed. She smiled different. Not like Amanda's trained grin. This was a smile that didn't need an audience. We've had coffee a few times. No pressure. No rushing. Just two people who enjoy talking to each other, which feels rarer than it should. I haven't told her about Amanda. Not in detail. Just that I was married. That it ended. That I learned a lot. Because I did. I learned that love without respect is just possession. I learned that staying faithful doesn't make you weak, but forgiving someone who uses that loyalty against you does. I learned that peace isn't something another person gives you. It's something you build once they're gone. And here's the part one want you to hear if you're going through something like this. You will survive. It won't be clean. It won't be quick. It might damn near hollow you out for a while. But you will crawl back. And when you do, you'll find that the person waiting on the other side isn't broken. He's rebuilt. And that version of you? He doesn't beg. He opens the door. And he never looks back. Thanks for walking through this with me.